Okay, now let's have solving distance problems. Let me read. An Air Force plane flies at a speed that is 30 kilometers per hour than a cargo plane. The Air Force plane flies 500 kilometers in the amount of time that the cargo plane flies 440 kilometers. So find the speed of each plane. Okay, this might look complicated, so let's analyze this problem. Let's understand this one at a time. So to answer this one, this is just like a comparison problem. We may have a table in here for us to visualize kung ano yung distance, time, and the speed or the rate. So let me have here a table, Air Force plane, and the other plane is called a cargo plane. So which is faster. As we all know, that is the Air Force plane. Okay, let me have the table first. Okay. Bear with my table. Okay. And there you have it. So let's fill up this table. So it says here an Air Force plane flies at a speed that is 30 kilometers per hour than a cargo plane. Mamaya na po yan. Let's identify first yung distance. Represented by D. The Air Force plane flies 500 kilometer. Air Force plane, 500 kilometer in the amount of time that the cargo plane flies at 400 kilometer. So you have here 500 for the Air Force plane, 500 kilometer. And then for the cargo plane, it flies 440 kilometers. Next, after identifying the distance, we have here the speed. At the speed, and so we could represent this by R since this is the rate. Says here, Air Force plane flies at the speed that is 30 kilometers per hour than a cargo plane. So which is missing? The speed of the cargo plane. No? So you could identify cargo plane as X. Or we could also have here R. Gawin natin pala siyang R. And so this is the rate of the cargo plane and it is missing. So what about the Air Force plane? It says here 30 kilometers per hour than a cargo plane, meaning it's faster than the cargo plane. Faster, can I identify it or represent by R plus 30. Okay, it is faster than the cargo plane. R plus 30. What about for the time? Find the speed of each plane. And the Air Force plane flies 500 kilometers in the amount of time that the cargo plane flies. So meaning they are equal. Okay? So time is represented by distance over R. Okay? Distance over R. So just substitute this one. 500 over R plus 30. Tama nga naman, no? So, yung distance, i-divide the speed, that is the time consumed for you to finish that distance. And for the cargo plane, we have 440 over R. Okay? Now that we have this one, this table, naintindihan po ba siya? Okay, digest ulit natin. So, for us to understand this problem, we could have the table. An Air Force plane flies at a speed that is 30 kilometers per hour than a cargo plane, meaning Air Force plane is faster than your cargo plane by 30 kilometer per hour. So we could identify that as R. for the cargo plane, and for the Air Force plane, R plus 30. Mas mabilis nga daw po kasi siya. Okay? This the speed represented by the variable R. Next, the Air Force plane flies 500 kilometer in the amount of time that the cargo plane flies 440 kilometer. So this is our distance. We got 500 for Air Force plane and 440 for cargo plane. Next, okay, for the fourth column, we identify the time. So time is given by D over R. Okay, so gaano katagal? Parang you may look it in this way. Gaano katagal to finish the distance with this speed ng ganun kabilis. So D over R. So we got 500. We just substitute our D and R. So 500 over R plus 30 for Air Force plane. That's the time. And for the cargo plane, 440 over R. Okay, now that we have here our ratio, as you can see, this is our ratio 1 and this is our ratio 2. And it says here, and the Air Force plane flies 500 kilometer in the amount of time that the cargo plane flies 440 kilometer. Meaning, these two, they are equal. Okay, the time we have equal time. So let's now proceed with writing the equation. So we have 500 over R plus 30 is equal, this is your ratio for time, is equal to 440 over R. Okay, so this is our equation already. Again, since the time for the Air Force plane is equal to the time of cargo plane as well, we could write it in this proportion. So we could have now the cross multiplication. Okay, so we will have 500 times R, that is 500 R, is equal to 440 times R plus 30. 440 times R plus 30. And okay, let's simplify this one. You got 500R is equal to 440 times R, that is 440R, plus 440 times 30, we got 1320. And so let's solve for this one. After having this, let's now combine like terms. Kulang ba ako na isang zero? Yes. So this is 13,200. And after simplifying, we now proceed with our next step, combining like terms. Yan. So we will have 500 R. Ilipat natin si 440, we'll have minus 440 R is equal to 13,200. And let's simplify it again. 500R minus 440R, that is 60R, is equal to 13,200. Divide both sides by 60 para si R yung matira. Cancel out this 2. So R is equal to 13,200 divided by 60. So you'll have 220. Okay? So that is the speed of this is the value of your R. Substituting this in your table, we have here 220 R. Where will I write this one? So for the cargo plane, R is equal to 220. Lagay ko na po dito ha, 220. Okay? Kilometer per hour po ba to? And kilometer per hour. Right here. 220 kilometer per hour. Next, this one. Ayan, 220 plus 30, so that is 250. Same unit, 250 kilometer per hour. And so we have identified already the speed of each plane. Okay, to check if this is correct, again, we will just substitute this one in our equation. Okay, for checking, let's have color red, checking. So 500 over r plus 30, so that is 250, is equal to 440 over r, your r is 220. Okay, so again, by cross multiplication, you will have 500 times 220, that is 110,000, is equal to 440 times 250, that is also 110,000 as well. And so meaning our answers are correct. So this is the value or the speed of each plane. Again, we got 250 kilometer per hour for Air Force plane and 220 kilometer per hour for cargo plane.